Hello, I'm Janet Stewart from CBC Winnipeg News. We know many people are worried about their finances right now, so we've invited a financial expert to join us today and offer some advice. Wang is a portfolio manager at TD Wealth Private Investment Council. He's been working in the investment industry for more than a decade. Thank you so much for joining us today, Gong.
Well, thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
Over the past few days, we've been asking people to send in questions. We've received quite a few, so let's get right to them. You know, many people are in challenging financial situations right now. They've got bills to pay. There's a good chance they've been laid off recently. Add to that any additional financial stressors, big ones like divorce or separation. It can be a huge burden to bear. Jackie Martin sent in this question asking when it makes sense to look at filing for bankruptcy and asking what factors need to be considered. What would you tell Jackie?
Well, Jackie, I really appreciate you sharing this with us, and I truly understand you're in a very tough position at the moment. I also recognize that your situation could be unique and also is an emotional period. It actually, to be able to answer that question to yourself, it actually requires comprehensive analysis and careful considerations. Perhaps also some legal and financial counseling involved before a conclusion can be reached out. I strongly recommend you to seek help and talk to a professional about it, because bankruptcy is not something a person to take lightly. It's a very serious decision because it's going to affect various things in your life, including the future, credit applications for a home or a car. So I urge you to seek financial assistance from a professional.
And it's okay to ask these questions, right? And you don't need to be ashamed or embarrassed at all to ask for help.
No, I was saying you don't have to at all. I mean, people have different professions and they're able to help you. I mean, that's why they're there. When you're sick, you're going to a doctor. You're seeking a treatment plan. Same thing here. You want to make some really important hard decision in your life. You should really talk to a professional about it. And you'll be amazed how professional these people are really trained, and then they will give you a lot of help.
Oh, that's great to know. Students are worried about their finances, too. There's a lot of uncertainty, tuition bills they have to pay, they've got their living expenses, and it's tougher to find a job right now. Last month, the federal government announced a Canadian emergency student benefit that will help with some of these concerns. So Alex T. was wondering if the government has officially released the benefit and if there's an extra provision for students with disabilities. Now, I found out, Gong, that the website will begin taking applications Friday, May 15th. That's tomorrow as we record this. The website will take you through different questions to determine exactly when each individual is eligible to apply, depending on if you're in a post-secondary education or you're graduating from high school. But you, Gong, wanted to say that there's a certain place you should go, or maybe you shouldn't just type it in your Google search. What did you want to tell people?
Okay, so generally, if you Google search a program, for example, in this case, CESB, Canada Educational Student Benefit, I would say go one step back. There's a website the government put on as a summary page. If you simply Google Canada COVID Economic Response Plan, then this page should be right there. So if you click into it, it will have 3 different sections for you. One for individual, one for the business, another one for the industrial sectors. So I encourage everybody to go through the whole page because you might be able to apply for other benefits available to you that you might not be aware of. And also the page will also lay out other government reliefs available to you. For example, it will tell you exactly what is the deadline for the personal tax filing or business filing. So I hope when we are researching these answers, don't just jump right into the ones that you know. There are other ones that could be available for you in this difficult time.
And the basic website is really, really easy. It's canada.ca. That'll take you to the basic place. There's a big line there that says find out about more information for help for COVID-19, and that'll take you to the website that Gong was recommending. So tomorrow, students can go on and plug in their information, find out when they specifically can apply for help. Now, on to our next question, which is about the stock market, Gong. It's, many people have RSPs. They have bonds. Maybe some people dabble in equity investments. So Edward Lee was wondering about advice to understand the markets right now. He wants to know if this is a good time to get into the stock market. What would you tell Edward?
I want to say, Edward, the questions that you asked are not million-dollar questions, but billion-dollar questions. That's everybody seeking an answer. I can simply tell you, as a investment professional for the past 10, 11 years in the field, I didn't develop an ability to predict the future. I don't think anybody can, but really our expertise as portfolio managers instead is to help people build a comprehensive long-term financial plan, which includes a well-structured, diversified investment portfolio, which is managed in a scientific and risk-managed manner, which will help you prepare for your future, not to predict it. And then through this, we can deal with uneasy times such as right now and also uncertainties. I can also tell you timing and trading the market has been notoriously difficult, and I strongly encourage you to be open to talk to a trusted portfolio manager or professionals that can help you build a long-term investment strategy.
Yeah, that's the thing. We see movies where they're saying, buy, sell, and that's the trading you're talking about, right? Timing it perfectly. You have to be psychic to know that, right?
Correct. I mean, if right now, let's say at the end of March or at the last week of March, you have a pile of cash sitting and waiting, I would say, well, then that time could be a really good time for you to invest, but we're already over a month past that point. So, but really you should focus on your long-term goals and the financial objectives or whatever objectives you want to achieve in your life, and then having a diversified portfolio, have different have your money put in different buckets of investment can really help you smooth out even in this kind of a difficult market conditions.
I guess that advice, too, goes to people who might have been panicking about their investments and thinking that, I got to get out because they're low. It's actually when they're low, that's when you don't want to sell, right?
That's correct. So we're all humans. When we're dealing with our investment, sometimes we're subject to, we call it emotional bias. Most people actually sell at the bottom. That is because when the market first dropped, they would think it will come back. And then your emotional just keep building up until the point you couldn't take it. And trust me, that is the bottom. And that's the worst time you can sell. And then once you sell investment, you're waiting for that signal or market timing again to get right back into it. I can say this to those audience right now. Right now, I mean, if you think about the end of the March, the bounce back so far is about 20 to 25% already for equity market. So if you're still waiting, unfortunately, you are already missed out that ride. So basically, when we're dealing with clients with that kind of a mindset, we're always educate them to focus on your long-term strategies. It's more important for you to stay invested, because investment is not only about the charts you see, on the TV every day. Those are price returns, right? Investment also includes interest and dividend payment and also other things. So only looking at the chart is not a good way to measure where the market or the investment now. So there's a concept called total return, but I don't think I need to get into it details right now. But there's really a lot of investment expertise and knowledge there. I mean, a normal, a regular person who say is not an investment professional may not have that in-depth of knowledge. So working with a professional is really important, especially in this kind of environment.
You were talking about the charts that we see, and I think that kind of ties into Edward's next question. Edward Lee was also asking, again, you know, if you had the answer, I think we'd all be much more wealthy now. What will recovery look like? This is the billion-dollar question. What will recovery look like? Edward's asking if it will be V-shaped. Now, do you think that's in reference to if we were looking at a line chart, is it going to be a sharp bounce back? What do you think?
Yes, the V shape normally is referring to a very quick rebound. Actually, we had a quick rebound. It just is not a full V. You know, the right-hand side of the V is kind of in the middle at the moment, and then the market is just trying to lingering and find a direction right now.
So do you think it'll be a longer recovery or a W shape, you know, those up and down, up and down? I guess, what are you hearing?
Well, you know what? Everybody is saying different things. Again, my focus is on really focusing on, for example, in my case, focusing on our clients, you know, long-term goals, objectives. I mean, if you have a really long time horizon in your investment portfolios, let's say some people have 10, 15, 20, 30, 50 years. I mean, if you really take a step back and then, let's say 20 years later, you look back, you'll find that, oh my gosh, this market drop recently is just a blip, you know, on the long-term chart. So I don't think people shouldn't deviate from their long-term plan, and your long-term investment goal is the most important. Market is volatile. Market is always moving up and down, right? So hopefully, you know, the assumption we all have is one day the market will recover, and I think that's very likely. It's just a matter of time.
A matter of time, but if you're 60, if you're 65, if you're close to retirement, you don't have as long a period of time perhaps for your investments, which brings us perfectly to Wendy L's question. She asks, given the uncertainty of the market right now, should she continue to balance her investments in GICs and mutual funds and group pension payments, or should she stick to putting money into one specific financial product?
Well, I will answer Wendy in this way. Your questions actually reveal that you could be benefited from retirement planning completed by a qualified professional, like a financial planner or a portfolio manager. It's hard to specify a direction without a complete understanding of your current financial situation. Most financial institutions offer qualified clients with complementary holistic financial or retirement planning. Your advisor will actually go through discovery, analysis, recommendation, and also implementation phase with you for your plan. So during the interactions with your planner or portfolio manager, you will see the benefit and value from doing such planning. For example, we use scenario analysis to model various outcomes for your financial plan, and then you and advisor can decide together which option will serve you the best in the long run. I mean, from my own experiences, clients with financial planning completed, generally finds much easier to stay on track with their investment strategies, and also they are more likely to meet their long-term financial objectives.